Hello, I'm Dr. Alamayo from Warabe University. Video lesson 4. In this video, we will see organic biochemical molecules, particularly lipids. This title is very important for remedial and the grade 12 students. Stay with me. Lipids are diverse group of biomolecules that are insoluble in water but soluble in non-polar solvents. These non-polar solvents include ether, chloroform, and acetone are the non-polar compounds. Therefore, lipids can be soluble in these non-polar compounds. Then, lipids are polymers of fatty acids and glycerol molecules. And the general formula for lipids is this chemical formula is the general formula of lipids. And they contain the acidic group. The acidic group which is found in lipids is the carboxyl group, contains the carboxyl group. Based on presence or absence of double bonds between their structure or carbon-carbon and their structure, there are two types of fatty acids. The first one is saturated fatty acids. The saturated fatty acids have no double bonds in their carbon-carbon chain. This is, for example, all saturated fatty acids are solid at room temperature. Animal lipids are often saturated and occur as animal fats. The second one is unsaturated fatty acid, which consists of one or more double bonds in their structure, so that they do not contain the maximum possible amount of hydrogen. Then, double bonds make fatty acids and lipids melt more easily. For example, most oils are unsaturated. Here, if you see this structure, the first one is the saturated fatty acids. In saturated fatty acid, there is no double bonds. Look, between carbon-carbon atom, there is no double bonds. But in the case of saturated fatty acid, unsaturated fatty acid, there is at least one double bond. Here, in the case of unsaturated fatty acid, at least there is one double bond between their carbon-carbon atom. Let us see the difference between the saturated fats and unsaturated fats. Here, saturated fats contains single bond between their carbon-carbon atom, whereas unsaturated fats contains at least one double bond. And again, saturated fats, excessive consumption of saturated fat leads to heart disease, whereas unsaturated fats, good for consumption, but excessive may increase cholesterol. The other difference is increases low density lipoprotein, which is called bad cholesterol in the case of saturated fatty acid. Whereas in unsaturated fatty acid, increases high density lipoprotein, which is commonly known as good cholesterol, and also reduces low density lipoprotein. Then the saturated fatty acids, that is food sources, are saturated fats like whole milk, butter, cheese, margarine, coconut oil, vegetables, oil, meat, peanut, fried foods. Whereas the food sources for unsaturated fatty acids are walnuts, flax, avocado, sunflower, soybean oil, fish oil, canola oil, and red meats are the food sources. Here, again, the other difference between saturated fats and unsaturated fats are saturated fats high melting point, whereas unsaturated fats has low melting points. And again, saturated fats are solid states in room temperature, whereas unsaturated fats are liquid state at room temperature. Examples of lipids. One of the best examples of lipid is that the triglycerides, or which is called natural fats. The triglyceride is a lipid molecule formed by the combination of one glycerol molecule and three fatty acids. Here, the formation of triglyceride is by the process of esterification or condensation reaction, and the reactants are one glycerol, which contains 3 carbon alcohol and 3 fatty acids. Then the process is each fatty acid reacts with hydroxyl group of glycerol, and the 3 ester bonds are formed. Also, 3 water molecules are released by this process. Let us see this structure. Here, this one is the glycerol. And this glycerol is a 3 carbon alcohol. That is, contains 3 hydroxyl. But these are fatty acids. 3 fatty acids, one by one, come to attach to the hydroxyl group of glycerol, and they form the ester bond. As the result, the 3 water molecule released by that process so-called condensation. Then the triglyceride molecule is formed. Then the triglyceride molecule contains 1 glycerol and 3 fatty acids. But when we add water to this triglyceride, it can be reversed, but that process is called hydrolysis. But by the process of condensation, 1 molecule of glycerol plus 3 molecule of fatty acid can give us triglyceride plus 3 molecule of water. Here, what is the function of triglyceride? The triglyceride has many functions, but some of the common functions are they can be used as energy storage, main long-term energy reserve. It can serve as a main long energy reserve, and again release more energy than carbohydrates. Then the other function is thermal insulation. This reduces heat loss, for example, subcutaneous fat, which is found under our skin. And it can be used as protection of organs. For example, it can protect the vital organ like kidney and again heart. And it can be used as the source of metabolic water. During formation of triglyceride, water molecule released. This water is can be a source of metabolic water. Then the other phospholipid, the other lipid is common lipid is that the phospholipid. Here, phospholipids is a lipid molecule composed of glycerol, 1 glycerol, 2 fatty acids, and it contains 1 phosphate group. Then again, the phospholipid formation. The formation of phospholipid is that can be formed from 1 glycerol, 2 fatty acids, and again 1 phosphate group. Here, again, the process is 2 fatty acids forms ester bond with glycerol, and the third hydroxyl group of glycerol binds to phosphate group. Then the process water molecule can be released. That is called as condensation reaction. Then here, let us see the parts of phospholipid. Phospholipid has 2 main parts, the head part and again the tail part. The head part is hydrophilic and the tail part is hydrophobic. Hydrophilic means water loving. Hydrophobic means water hating. Here, the head portion of phospholipid contains the phosphate group as well as the glycerol, whereas the tail part contains fatty acid. Even one of these fatty acids is unsaturated fatty acid. Then the head is the polar, hydrophilic, and it contains the phosphate group. The tail is nonpolar, hydrophobic. It contains the fat acid. Then this molecule is called amphipathic. But what is amphipathic means? Amphipathic molecule is a molecule that has one end that likes water and the other end that does not like water. Look, the head like water, the tail hate water or does not like water. That is why the phospholipid is called amphipathic molecule. This property of water allows to form membrane around the cell. Then, if you consider this one is the structure of phospholipid, this phospholipid make the membrane. Here, it forms phospholipid bilayer. If you consider the cell membrane, it is composed of phospholipid bilayer. That is why, because the phospholipid contains the water-hating part, which is the tail, and again water-loving part, which is the head. The head region of the phospholipid aligns itself toward this, where there is water, in this case extracellular, and again where there is water, in this case intracellular, to inside parts of the cell, which is the cytosol, and they arrange itself this way and can form a phospholipid bilayer. And it is important to make the cell membrane. Then, what are the functions of phospholipids? Phospholipids has many functions. Let us see some of the functions of phospholipid. The first one is a structural component of cell membrane. That means form the phospholipid bilayer. If this one is the cell membrane, it forms the phospholipid bilayer. This allows selective permeability. And again, the other one is formation of biological membrane. The phospholipid is not only making cell membrane, but also it can make nuclear membrane. Also, the organelle membrane can be made from the phospholipid. Also, the phospholipid are important for cell signaling. That means some phospholipid act as signaling molecules. Cell signaling means a cell sends a message and another cell receives it and responds to this message. That is called as cell signaling. These are the functions of phospholipid. Thank you for joining me today. Subscribe and share with your friends. See you in the next video. Thank you very much.